Cheers. Never better. I'll finish this the rest of the day.
Hello, welcome to Jagged Peak Outdoors. I'm your host, Mark Williams, and we are in a bluebird day. And with that being said, you can hear the runoff, which indicates water. And what we're going to talk about today is taking the water that we found, maximizing our water filtration system. And I'm going to show you briefly how to do that. And then we're going to talk about the pros and cons of not filtering your water. So what I've got today is I just have a dual action pump. This happens to be a Catadyne, and I've used their products. Again, I don't endorse any products. This is just what I've used and found it to be reliable and works well. If that's not a spot for the company, I don't know what is. But anyway, what we're going to do is explain to you the dual action purpose of this, and just a quick rundown. It has a multi-station filter that's right inside or below this handle, and then with that we've got a carbon filter that actually streamlines any kind of impurity, sediment, bug larva. That's an ugly term, but it is resident this time of year, especially when insects come out and collect on the bushes and fall into the water. And the beauty of a two-stager is it gives you more pressure as you reach up and pump down. The pressure that is combined allows a nice suction. And what it'll also do is give you a sense of seeing it go into the bottle. And you know when you see it, you'll know like, oh wow, that warrants another pumping. With technology and better carbon-based filters that they have on the market, and again, a lot of companies can do this. You can go online and search water filters, water straws that literally you could suck from your mouth right out of the water and get an immediate emergency water if you need. This is more done to rate waters 2 gallons per minute, which is, it seems fast. I personally think anywhere about between 0.8 of a gallon to a gallon is clear. And again, if I see any filtration issues, this water bottle starts to look murky like it's mist, I will run it through again. Let me demonstrate how this works. So what you do is you bring your handle up. After placing your handle up, releases the air, so it makes an invitation to take your pump or your filtration hose, and you will just screw that on. I should say just wedge it on. And when you wedge that on, what you're going to do is you're going to find what I put out ahead of time here is a little pocket so this water can be close to you. You can adjust the foam ring to set the depth so your filtration pump head, if you will, is not down in the muck. It actually will float above. Again, to find what you need is you can actually take a rock and actually, when you get it down in the water, you can actually just kind of keep it because it will float. And then from there, what you're going to do is you're going to pump aggressively, and it is actually going to be pumping through here, coming through the top, and exiting down through into our water bottle. Let me demonstrate. So it's like maybe you can't see, but I will show you the end product here. We're starting to fill our water bottle, and our water bottle right now is filling at a rate of about, an inch every 3 seconds. So we're getting some clean, purified water. Keeping notice when you look back into the stream, if you see debris, sticks, algae, anything, just relocate that so it can float freely on the bottom. And again, we don't want it does its best to lift itself off the bottom, but the filter charcoal head here in the bottom also with the ring will keep it up off the rocks just enough where you can fill your water bottle. We are almost there, and I can see just a little bit of foam, which tells me that the carbon reaction is working. Once you're done, what I like to do, and you've reached your filled water bottle, is to unclip it. Most of them have a handy dandy clip here, so when you're in there attaching it to the threads at the cap of the bottle, it won't try to come out on you, which is nice. So what you do is, once you get it off the ground, you're bringing it up, and you're just kind of releasing any other contaminants or any extra water in there, because you want these to dry without the hoses on them in the evening, or maybe around camp, or even I at times have just laid them on tree limbs so they get a nice equal drying period outside. And of course we just hold the tops, let that wring out. For the purpose of illustration, I'm just going to lay these out. And again, just a very simple system. It's just a chamber. Again, what is pumped from the water, from the stream, is going to be the top valve here. And it's accommodated, of course, by the filter system. So in any way, as I mentioned, if you needed to adjust the depth, let's say you're in a pond and there seems to be some movement in that pond, you can really just regulate this up and down to meet the required depth that you need. And again, for purposes of illustration, I'm just going to lay this out. And then I open the piston. I tend to crack it open just a little bit, just to let any pressure off. And we can see, once we've looked at it, we've got a little bit of surface debris. And that surface debris is what can get you sick. You've heard of giardia, and it's not a pleasant sickness to have. I've had it one time when I was packing with horseback into the mountains and decided not to use a filter. And I've got to tell you that I was sick beyond description, affectionately called the Ho Chi Minh Tuesday. So you run to a tree and hope you feel better after a while. So anyway, once that's open, just let it sit out in the sun. Just let the sun kind of clear it off, the wind. And then what you're going to do, as I said, for the purposes of illustration, we're going to take the rest of our stuff, lay it out so it's dry, and then showing you the end product. This is really what you're looking for. A lot of the old filters did not have a dual stage or a very tight particular charcoal filter. The ones on the market, again, as I mentioned, there's lots of them on the market. So just look around. You'll spend anywhere from 60 to 120 is kind of ballpark for most good water pumps. You could read the reviews. What you want to do is read reviews from people that are literally going on multi-day pack trips, camping trips, horseback trips, whatever it might be. And if you do read the reviews, just filter out literally it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's not a perfect system, but it really makes it safe. The other alternative, other than using filtered water, which we've talked about in a previous episode, was the fact that you can get iodine tablets. There's other bottle drops, if you will, of purification that comes in an eyedropper or tablets. I personally found that iodine has a real funky taste. The only way you mask it is if you put a powdered drink or coffee to kill that taste. So I can tell you firsthand that it is worth the investment to get a good water filtration system. Cheers. Never better. I'll finish this the rest of the day. So with that, we will go to our next episode. Look forward to having you join me there. That's going to be getting set up literally to make a quick food stop. Maybe it's while you're putting camp in. We're going to use a stove. We're also going to use freeze-dried meals and kind of the quick prep. This is really good for when you're going to be, in a day hike, even an overnighter, that you bring good quality light food that has fat in it, as well as that stays well. A lot of the freeze-dried foods, which we'll get to, in a sense, are Ziploc pouches, and you pour hot water directly into them. And we're going to address that as well. So we'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Bye now.